my God. I can't believe this is music.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Listography. Pretenders Week winding down here. We've already ranked the records, given you our top 10 favorite songs. So looking for something to talk about for their third video. Any list worth its salt about the greatest debuts of all time will have the first Pretenders record on it. So that's what we're talking about today, the all-time best debut records. We're going to give you 5 each and then maybe a few more after that. So, Kramzer, you want to start us off?
I do. It was surprising how many there are to pick from. There's a lot of really good debuts from artists. Some artists operate where they find themselves eventually. We just talked about Pink Floyd, and, very few people would say Piper is their best album. But, it's just really cool how some groups, to me, their first album is the best, and it's not even close. And one of those groups for me is going to be one of my top 10 albums of all time, and that's Interpol with Turn on the Bright Lights. Sorry, Joe. They don't come close to this again. The mood, the sound, the alarming emotionality of it is just fantastic. Next one for me is going to be Funeral by Arcade Fire. A lot different in their catalog, especially where they are now. This one is really full of youthful Baroque pop energy and those sunken, sustained Wurlitzer piano sounds. It's fantastic. Then an obvious one, because it's the only good album they have, Stone Roses. A lot of people thought they were the next coming or the late 80s Beatles. And if they were, you never found out after this album, because this was as good as it gets and one of the only ones they did. Next two are a little bit more obvious. I've got 10 by Pearl Jam. I'm not going to say it's my favorite Pearl Jam album, but I think given the competition of the sound that was coming out at the time, they put out one of the best grunge albums ever. And then the other one is going to be my favorite album of 67, Are You Experienced by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. What a debut. It never got better. Everything you want in that psychedelic rock extravaganza that they did, they did, because the rest of the band is amazing. And it's a fantastic album. There are a lot to choose from, and those are my 5.
All right. Well, for my 5, I considered like Pearl Jam, but it was basically a whole band from Mother Love Bone and a new singer. Same with stuff like Led Zeppelin. All those guys have been around before, basically. Obviously, those are debuts, but a little too easy. Zeppelin, Jimmy Page had been playing for years, so I didn't include either of those. I'm gonna go with straight, like, fresh out the studio, nothing beforehand. So I'm gonna go with Van Halen 1, which was just sort of out of nowhere, just found these couple of guys and basically changed rock and roll music with Eddie Van Halen's guitar playing. I'm going to do The Cars with their self-titled debut, which, again, there's like 8 singles on that thing. You can hear basically the entire album on the radio in a single day, anytime you turn on the radio. Really remarkable debut. And then I'm going to go with Elvis Costello, My Aim Is True. A really great debut. Another one where there's kind of just came out of nowhere, a bunch of great songs you can still hear on the radio today. And let's see, I'm going to go with Boston's debut, kind of like The Cars and Van Halen 1, like just kind of came out of nowhere, but it's a record where at least, 75% you can hear on the radio today, just immaculately produced, took forever to record. He'd been working on those songs forever, and it all just kind of came together. And for my last one, I'm going to go with, say, Metallica, Kill 'Em All, real thrash, really good debut. There's a million other ones. I could have named 1,000 other bands, but those are all kind of ones that kind of just came out of nowhere, took the world by storm.
Kill 'Em All, Jason's favorite Metallica album.
Yep. Okay, so I have a ton of records written down here. To narrow it down, instead of, listing the records that kind of took the world by storm and changed music, I think I'm going to just go with the ones that kind of took me by storm, that just like really, when the first second I heard them, just made me, take notice. So some of these are going to be a little newer, maybe going back to the 90s. Start with August and Everything After by Counting Crows. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't take Counting Crows seriously. They kind of lump them in with all this sort of post-grunge stuff that was going on.
We do.
We
I
take
think
them
the
seriously.
three of us do. Yeah.
I feel like they're sort of a continuation of groups like The Band and, Van Morrison. I think they're not just a college rock band that came out of nowhere. They're not like Hootie and the Blowfish or something. They really understand the history of rock music, and they're a continuation of that lineage. And that first record is fantastic from start to finish. T-Bone Burnett produced it. It sounds great. It's just one of the best records of the 90s. And then I'm going to say, I didn't hear this when it first came out. It took me a while to come around to it and hear it, but when I heard it, it knocked me out completely, and that is Jeff Buckley's Grace. Some of the best vocals ever recorded, I think, on that record. Great songs, great playing. Sticking around sort of the same time era, I'm going to go with Weezer's Blue album. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Cars. You had Rick Ocasek there producing, and just like these great pop songs with this little, just enough humor, like a kind of a wink and a smile, just a fantastic record. And it spawned a million other terrible bands, but it itself is fantastic. Let's see. And then I'm going to go with The Dust of Retreat by Margot and the Nuclear So-and-Sos. This, when I was working in the music store, this got sent in as a promo, and no idea what it was. Put it in the CD player, and immediately I was like, what is this? Where did it come from? Because we didn't really get many promos. It was, the 2000s. The record industry had pretty much crumbled, so we didn't really get a lot of promos, and it just showed up in the mail one day and blew me away. Fantastic songwriting, great arrangements. You got like a 8-piece band on this, and it's really good. And for my last one, I'm going to go with North Hills by Dawes. First time I heard it, just blew me away. Heard one song on the radio and immediately had to go seek it out. And they've been one of my favorite bands ever since. Taylor Goldsmith is, I think, one of the best songwriters of the last 20 years. So those are going to be my 5. You guys got any more you want to throw out?
I'm a big fan of The Killers. I got Hot Fuss. That blew me away. I heard it at a Sam Goody, and I still tell my friends to this day that was the first one to hear this album. And I was like, oh my God, you got to hear this dance rock album. It's great. I've got Oh Inverted World. There's a lot of newer bands that only have a handful of albums, to me, the first Fleet Fox album from 2008 is just fantastic. One of the best albums of the decade. And, so there's a lot of albums like that. But as far as, more classic stuff, I think we've hit a lot of the nails on the head. First Black Sabbath album is great.
As far as newer stuff, Margot Price's first album, really good. Going back a little bit, we got The Hives with Veni Vidi Vicious, which I really loved when it came out. I bought it at the same time as Andrew WK's debut, I Get Wet, which I also love. That was a phenomenal debut. That really kind of blew me away the first time I heard that. That was a kind of one in a bajillion kind of record. And I got to bring up one more, Vivid from Living Color. Just a really awesome hard rock debut. One of my favorite songs of all time, Cult of Personality. I still get goosebumps listening to that song.
Parachutes by Coldplay. We haven't even started to talk about my relationship with Coldplay on this channel, but it will be a saga because it is the worst breakup with someone you've ever had is my relationship to Coldplay. Love the first 2 albums and cannot stand the rest of it. X and Y, okay. But also, I'll probably throw out Core, my favorite Stone Temple Pilots album. I've got to put that in there.
As far as classic stuff goes, neither of you guys said the first Talking Heads record, right? Talking Heads 77, first Roxy Music record.
First Big Star record.
Joe and I know, are both big fans of The Gilded Palace of Sin. You got Marquee Moon.
Oh, yeah. What about Shake Your Moneymaker by Black Crowes?
Shake Your Moneymaker is good. Early 90s debut. Cannot leave off Please Please Me, the first Beatles record. Really good. Some newer stuff. For Emma, Forever Ago from Bon Iver. The first Vampire Weekend record. Masterpiece by Big Thief, I think is great. Joe, did you say Can't Buy a Thrill?
No, I didn't. I should have. That's another one.
Back to the 90s, I would say the first Supergrass record, I Should Coco.
Oh, God, yeah. Good call.
Deserving of a mention as well. So there's tons more. There's hundreds of good ones. So let us know some more down in the comments. Hit like on the video, subscribe, hit the bell to get notifications. See you tomorrow with our favorite albums of 1975.